Hi, I'm Lisa Hayden with Channel 6 Central Kentucky TV, community focus on Washington County. And I am happy to have with us today Sue Kidwell and
Bill Sutton.
Bill Sutton. Excuse me, like I've known you 100 years, Bill. Anyway, that happens. So, you know what I was thinking, of course, because you were talking about your relative, and I was getting ready to say Bill Kidwell.
That was okay, too.
That would be okay, too.
I'm proud of that, too.
Yeah. So, of course, you were a Kidwell.
I sure was.
Yeah. So, and Sue, did I say Kidwell? And then Clements.
No,
Right.
you didn't say Clements, but that's all right, too.
So how should Kid Clements is what
Yes.
I should say. Goodness sake.
That's
boy,
all
I'm
right. It's
telling
the
you.
rain.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'm happy to have you girls here today.
We're happy to be here.
And because, of course, we want to focus on child abuse this month, as it is, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. One of the most important causes of all.
Yes. Yes.
And so I know you all, I don't know for how many years now, have drawn attention to this matter through the Homemakers Club. Is that
22
correct?
years this year, I think. 22 years.
Yeah. And is this through the Washington County Homemakers Association? Is it different clubs? Or
No,
is
it's just through the Washington County Homemakers Association.
okay.
So that's all the homemakers in
Yes.
the county.
Okay.
But
okay.
this is a statewide effort and a national effort begun in 1983. So,
Yeah.
we've been working on it for quite a while.
Do homemakers in other counties and throughout the country participate in this program?
Homemakers and lots of other civic organizations participate. They don't all do exactly what we do. We have materials that come out, and we can pick and choose, what kind of activities that we would like to do
Yes.
to bring attention to the Prevent Child Abuse cause. One of the first things we do is to ask our mayor, Debbie Wakefield, and our judge, John Settles, to do a proclamation. And you were there the night we did the one at the
City Council
at the city
meeting?
council meeting. So
Right.
that's one of the first things we do to bring awareness to the cause.
Yes, and of course, you gave us some statistics that night, which really are astounding as to the number of child abuse cases that we have. And perhaps you could share a little, some of that with us.
Well, the main thing that I saw when I read through the data was there's a 5% increase this year in Kentucky of reported and documented cases of child abuse or neglect, and that 65% of our cases in Kentucky are related to the opioid crisis and other drug use. So
That's just makes you just so sad, and to think, to realize that is what is one of the big problems associated with this, with
Right.
child abuse and neglect.
this morning on the news, I heard, and I hope I'm quoting it correctly, 4 deaths a day in Kentucky related to drug use, which puts children into the foster care system.
Yes.
The foster care system right now is maxed out. There are more children who need placement than there are places for them to go. So, that's what it's doing to the future of our children in Kentucky.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I don't know what do you know what the number is in Washington County? Do you have any numbers on those? That's all right.
We
That's all
have 45 cases that were positively impacted in Kentucky last year through intervention, to prevent child abuse. We don't have an actual number to quote you, which is not a bad thing. I'd rather not hear an actual number. I'd rather hear cases that were helped.
Right.
And also with our pinwheels, we had a conference call, and they stressed to us, use the pinwheels in a positive way. And we plan to put out 45 to stand for the 45 cases that were helped, maybe rescued from something really bad. So we want to use them in a positive way. And I want to honor Pat Sutton, who was the head of this for many, many, many years and impressed us so much with her programs and everything. And my last name is Sutton, so when Sue called me, I said, how can I say no to honor the Sutton name?
Yeah.
Because she was so very faithful with her pinwheels and her ribbons and her program. We want to honor Pat.
I agree 100% on that, and the Pat, and I don't know who else helped with that, always made the little blue ribbons, which of course signify the child abuse.
Right.
And so she made all those little blue ribbons every year that people would wear on their lapel.
Right.
All month long during April.
The Lord's been laying them on my mind at night when I go to bed, and I keep saying it. I'll do it next time, or maybe we'll do it. So now you've said it again. I really. I think this is a sign.
The Lord is calling you on that.
We need to get them. We need to get them ribbons out. Yep. All right. Thank you, Lisa.
And so now, what I know you have other information there that you'd like to share with us. So.
Well, these are just some tips to give to people. It says share your experiences in handling stress with families that are facing similar challenges. It says baby set free so they can take a break. Arrange a parent support group so mom and dad can share the joys and challenges of parenting while the children have an opportunity to play together. As a grandparent, take care of a grandchild each week to relieve the pressure on a son or daughter. As a preschool teacher, establish informational meetings for parents of young children to provide them with information on parenting. Offer a neighbor a ride to an activity. And this is my favorite. Learn the names of all the children in your neighborhood. So if I know that Sally's down this street and we talk every once in a while, and she comes up one day and she's looking really sad, she's not talking, doesn't even want to be talked to, something's going to tell me something's not going right there. Volunteer time to a child or youth serving organization. Run an errand, bake cookies for a new parent in the neighborhood, take a meal. Talk to parents about typical child development. And it says wear blue on April 6th for Commit to Prevent Child Abuse. And ask your place of worship or your child's athletic organization what steps they are taking. And we've contacted the churches here in Washington County, and they're going to make an announcement for everyone to wear blue on Blue Sunday, April the 7th and 8th.
Yeah,
it's the 7th if you
and
go
8th. Yes.
Saturday night, which us Catholics do, and Sunday is the 8th. We've contacted the churches, and they've put a little blurb in their bulletin. So, reach out and let it be known.
Well, you mentioned how the need for foster homes. That is certainly and all the time you see around town.
Yes.
And I've had people on Channel 6 before to talk about different foster care programs
Yes.
that are available. There's so many. It used to be the majority of the foster homes were through the state,
Right.
The Cabinet for Families and Children, but now you have a lot of private organizations that also, Presbyterian homes, Harriet Sims Boone was on here and talked about the, she works for, golly, skip my mind now, but Catholic Charities is another organization, and Home of the Innocents is who she is with. And so there are numerous organizations that provide foster care homes, and of course a lot of these children are committed to the Cabinet for Families and Children, and then they go into the foster homes, and and just this legislature, I was glad to see that, and you know, I'm gonna give kudos to our government in that they passed a bill to allow relatives
Yes.
to get paid as
Yes.
foster parents.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Because that used to be done and then it was stopped. And you know, there might be a relative that could take a child.
Right.
But they can't afford it.
Right.
And so they need some assistance in being able to take care of that child.
That's great.
And so those are just, you know, things that I, you know, being a retired social worker.
Right.
Amen.
Right.
I know how desperate social workers could be to find homes for children that
Right.
need to be in foster. So maybe, you know, some of our churches, some of the members, with what you're putting in the bulletin, you might find that there's a desire of some of these parents to become foster parents.
That'd be great.
So that would be good. And you two are both retired teachers, principal,
Right.
Teacher.
elementary school teacher, and you know firsthand, well, that the law requires people who suspect, particularly.
Yes.
So maybe you could share that you're required to report.
Yes.
Yes.
If you have any suspicion, if a teacher in your school has any suspicion, if children come to you and tell something that has happened to them at home that might qualify as abuse or neglect, then teachers in particular are required by the law to report that. And I think a lot of times it was easy to make people understand the abuse part of it, but the neglect part, which is the larger percentage of all the children impacted in Kentucky, is the neglect part, meaning that those children did not have whatever was needed to meet their basic needs. They did not have food. They did not have a safe place, you know, things like that. And you know, people understand when you say, well, so-and-so was reported because they had struck this child and, you know, inflicted injury on them. But the neglect can be just as damaging. So,
Yes.
you know, that's a big part of it.
Yes, and as you said, with the neglect, there's also neglect of emotional needs.
Yes.
Sure.
And you probably saw a lot of that because that's one of the things, the stipulations, in an attempt to be able to document that, is that they do not do well in school
Yes.
with
Yes.
learning, and sometimes that's a result of
Yes.
emotional abuse.
Right.
And childhood should be the happiest time in a person's life. It's where we get our background, our foundation, and these pinwheels they're a symbol to represent the bright future that all children deserve. And it's a reminder for everybody to take action and keep these children safe and celebrate families and celebrate children.
Yes, indeed. We want to keep them. They're our future.
They
are.
certainly
They
are.
are.
They are our
And
future.
so we need these children to grow up and to be healthy and productive citizens in our community.
So they can
Yes.
be good parents too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 And of course, they learn from model. I mean,
By
they
example.
model their
By
parents'
example,
behavior.
yes.
And by example. So
By example.
you two, I'm sure, have seen that generation of abuse and neglect.
We're afraid we might have,
second
right.
and third generations, probably.
Right.
Well, that's
when-
right. And so
Right.
it
Yes.
perpetuates itself.
Yes, it does. It perpetuates, and that's the sad part of it.
You would
Yeah.
think if I'm abused as a child, I'm going to be so kind and so good to my children and make sure that they're not raised that way. But that's not what happens. It's so sad, you know?
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah. You do what you've learned.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So now, do you have? Because people can report if they suspect
Yes. they can and they should if they suspect.
What was that little
Anyone.
saying you said the other day?
The saying is the same thing they say about our national security. If you see something, say something.
Yes.
You know, don't say, oh, well, that's not my business, or that I shouldn't butt in here, you know, just,
Yeah.
if you see something suspicious, share it with somebody.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a hotline number to report child abuse and neglect. And as you said, Sue, it just the suspicion of it.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't have to have actually witnessed it. You know, for example, if a child has a bruise on them or you notice after several times seeing this child in the neighborhood, they always have bruises.
Yes.
Well, okay, maybe, you know, they're prone to falling around, but also, you know, in some unusual places on the face.
Right.
You know, that's usually, I mean, it can be a sign of
Yes.
child abuse. And so, and if you just have these suspicions and it just gnaws at you and you're not really sure, you can still report it.
Yes.
And you don't have to give a name.
Right.
You can be anonymous.
Right.
You just report it anonymously on
Right.
the hotline and say, you know, every time I see this child, they have bruises and
Right.
seems like lots of them in bad places, or maybe, you know, something like maybe cigarette burns,
Yeah.
you know. And I know you all have seen those things. And so is there a hotline number that you have? Do you have the hotline number with
It's
you?
right there. I think it's right here. I didn't want it here.
I'll let you.
Contact Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky at 859-225-8879.
Okay, so I think it's in the phone book too, isn't it?
I was
bet
going to
it
say,
is.
there's an 800 number in the phone book, so that's, you know, you wouldn't even be a
Yeah.
long-distance call
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
anybody has to worry about that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
An
in the
800.
phone, it's in the phone book.
yeah. And so what else would you all like to share with us on that?
Well, I'd like to share that Monday we'll be in town, putting up all of our blue ribbons and putting up our pinwheels, and we'd like for people to.
Oh, is there going to be a ceremony then at a particular time?
No, we're not
Okay.
having a ceremony this time. We're just going to be there at the historic courthouse
The
lawn
1816 courthouse.
and put up our banner and put the ribbons on the light
We are
post
going to
and-
the schools. I thought maybe this year and Sue agreed that to reach more children, reach more people, maybe because we had a program last year and it was in the courthouse, it was cool. And even the mayor of Willisburg baked homemade pies. I mean, we had some things to draw you in there. But I was a little bit disappointed. I know everybody's so busy. And I just wasn't sure of the people that we impacted. So this year, there was a book that was recommended here that it's called My Body Belongs to Me. And it is just beautiful. It's so sweet. And so I contacted the schools and the elementary schools in North Washington and Washington County Elementary on the Hill and St. Dominic. And we've already been to St. Dominic and we read from pre through third grade. This book is appropriate. And we're having a coloring contest, pinwheel coloring contest for them. And then we plan on getting out to North Washington and Washington County on the Hill. And also there's a poster contest that we sponsor for the upper grades, you know. And we were so impressed last year. The posters were phenomenal. And to get their little sayings and things, they had to do a lot of research. So we felt like they learned a lot.
Yes.
You know.
Right.
Now, I think that's excellent, Belle, and I saw those posters last year, and they were on display here at the Opera House.
Yeah, they'll be out.
in the window, and I was amazed at the efforts that these
Yes.
students took to make these posters, and as you said, I was amazed at the knowledge they
Yeah.
seemed to have.
Yeah.
And I thought that is so good. That is such great awareness for them to learn, because you know, children, I don't think well, I know this as a fact, but they don't always know, how to put those things in words. So when teachers are going to, when social workers go to investigate a situation, the children don't always know exactly how to put those, they might think it's normal
Yes.
that they are whipped every night with the belt for
Yes.
some minor not going to bed or not staying in bed or the inappropriate discipline.
They don't know anything
and things.
different.
They don't know anything
No.
different.
Right.
And then of course you're talking about your body, so this must also include sexual abuse.
It does. It was very beautifully done. We let the principals read it, of course, before that we went to the schools. And when we went to St. Dominic's, they were just so receptive, the children were. If we could all be children, it'd be great. Oh, excuse me.
And with that, Belle, I suppose, that might increase, as we said, might increase awareness to the child, so that a child
Yes, can help themselves.
might help themselves.
Yes.
Might report
Yes.
themselves to their teacher or to their minister or
Right.
someone what is going on with them.
Right, we ask them, who would you tell if somebody is touching you or even tickling you really, really hard or something, you don't like it? And they said some of the cutest answers. And I told Sue, in one of the classrooms, it was a first grader, and she said, I would tell Jesus. And I said, that's great, but you need somebody right here, that you can talk to and touch. And you can tell Jesus and pray, but you must tell somebody, But they know what's going on. Yeah, yeah,
That is great.
yeah.
That's a marvelous program. I'm glad you're
Good,
you're
good.
able to do that. And is there anything else? Does that
Well,
cover-
I'd just like to reiterate about Wear Blue on Friday, April the 6th. April the 6th.
6,
And then the weekend of April 7th and 8th is
Blue Sunday.
Blue Sunday, asking all of the churches to support us by wearing blue and announcing the
Mhm.
program.
And to encourage people to do just these things that you've mentioned, that you can learn your neighbors, who the kids are in your neighborhood, and get to know them. And if you see a young family struggling,
Offer some
a
help.
little bit of help, and that's amazing in and of itself, because you don't realize people don't realize what one little act of kindness
Right.
can do to help a family spirit and make them feel more confident about themselves, or know that there's someone they can turn to.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We talked about
yes.
the extended family when we came to the
Yeah.
city council, that so many people now don't have extended family nearby. It used to be that if you were having a stressed out day, you could take
Send
the
them to
baby,
grandma.
take the baby to grandma. Well, now you're in Kentucky and grandma's in Florida,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they don't have that extended
Different.
family support that
Right.
we had when we were growing up, and even when we were raising our own
Yes.
children.
Yeah.
So it's good to be on the lookout for somebody that might need a little help.
Exactly. Well, that is great. And also, if someone does suspect child abuse, neglect, exploitation, then they should, even if they don't know it for sure,
Right.
they can just have this suspicion.
Yes.
They can report it, it can be investigated, and then go from there. And you can give your name anonymously. And that number again, Sue, is what? Because
859-225-8879. Or check the phone book for the 1-800 number.
And this, I think, is so true. Child abuse is one of the greatest tragedies of our times, but it doesn't have to be. We can prevent it by building communities that are committed to strong families to the support and services they need to raise healthy and successful children.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Yes. So thank you all for your efforts and all you do to
You're most
prevent
welcome.
child abuse and
Well, and thank you for the
neglect.
opportunity to share this
Yes,
morning.
thank you so much. We
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Well, thanks to Channel 6 and to Gary White,
Thank you, Gary.
who is so good to allow us to do this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again.
You're welcome.